Are you buying your first home? It's very exciting. But if you make these mistakes, it can actually turn into a nightmare. Now, I work with a lot of buyers and it is so much fun, but I want to go over the 7 mistakes that I see them make and how you can avoid them. Number 7, that's a doozy because if you make that mistake, the only way to fix it is you're going to have to move. The first step, it's not fun, it's not what anybody wants to do, but everybody really needs to do that, and that is to get pre-approved. Now, you can call a lender and they can give you what they call a pre-qualification. You say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I make this much money, and they say, hey, that's great, you can get this much house. But you really need to dig deep. You need to go ahead and give them your tax returns for the last couple years, pay stubs, anything they're asking for, so that you know exactly what amount of home that you can qualify for. And you also want to know what are the payments going to be, because you can probably qualify for a lot of house, but you probably don't want that mortgage payment because you're going to want to enjoy the quality of life. Also, there's nothing more frustrating than shopping for a home in a price point only to find out later that you cannot afford that price point. You also don't want to waste your time shopping in a price point that is lower than what you can afford. Another thing about getting pre-approved is that many sellers do not want to leave the convenience of their home, pack up their kids and their pets to open the door for a buyer that hasn't done their homework to find out if they can actually afford that home. So you could be turned away from seeing the home of your dreams because you're not ready. Next, if you find your dream home and you want to make an offer on it, you find out you're in a multiple offer situation, the seller most likely is not going to wait for you to go get your pre-approval, and they're going to move forward with the offers that have already had pre-approval letters. The next one is overlooking hidden cost. A lot of times buyers will take into account their mortgage payment, their property taxes, and their insurance, but they don't take into account things like the condo association fees, HOA fees, or the CDD fees. There's also estoppel letters that need to go with those, and they're going to cost extra money as well. Other costs that I see that buyers are not prepared for is the cost of actually getting the loan, and then also the closing cost fees from the title office to prepare the package for the buyer for closing. And remember, you are going to need to get homeowners and you're going to have property taxes. The property taxes that you see are what the seller pays. Your property taxes are going to be different and your insurance cost is going to be different. So you want to go ahead and get those costs up front to make sure that you're going to be comfortable with those expenses and the monthly expenses in your mortgage. Now, this next one I don't think is an option. And my buyers will often ask me, hey, do I really need to get a home inspection? And my answer always is yes, absolutely. When you go through the house, you see things and you're like, okay, well, that handle's loose, or I need to fix this little spot on the paint. But there's many things that you cannot see. You cannot know from walking through the house the exact age of the roof, what the situation with the water heater is, the plumbing. When you turn on the water, do you have a slow drain or does it have like a drip? Are there any areas that are leaking or appliances or things that are not working? And the only way you're going to know this is if you get an inspection, because once you close on the house, good or bad, everything is yours. So I always recommend get an inspection. That also means that if you have a pool, you'll probably want to get a leak detection. And if you have like well and septic, you're going to want to get those inspected as well. Usually you want to get a water test done for the well water. And if you have an older home, you might be looking at maybe a lead-based paint inspection too. Now, there are numerous inspections that you can do, but you want to make sure that you get the inspection so that you can make an informed decision if you want to move forward and take on any problems that this house has, or if you're going to go ahead and search for another house. As a first-time home buyer, if these 3 already have you a little concerned or nervous, you do not need to be. I'm going over this to show you how to avoid these. But if you'd like to chat or text or talk, let me know, reach out to me in the information below, and I will be happy to go over it with you. Next, please do not make emotional decisions. I had a buyer once going through a house. They told me exactly what they were looking for, and the house that we were in was nothing like it. I knew that this home was not for them, but they were so emotionally involved in the furniture of the house, the layout and the design, which it was absolutely stunning, that I kept trying to tell them, this furniture is not your furniture. This is all going to go. You don't get to keep this. And you're making a decision on things that you see in this house that will not be here when you close. So no matter how much you may love the house, don't make it emotional. Look at the facts, the inspection report, the appraisal, survey, and title commitments, and make sure that everything is in line and it's the right decision for you. So don't make an emotional decision, make an informed decision. You want to make sure that you've got the information regarding, are you comfortable with that mortgage payment? Are you comfortable with the location of the property? Are you comfortable with the HOA or condo rules that you're going to have to live by? So don't get wrapped up in the emotions of how beautiful something looks. Look at all the facts and then make sure you're comfortable with that information. Now, number 5 actually kind of scares me. When I see my buyers discussing draining their savings account and then pulling from credit cards, friends, or family because they don't have enough money for the down payment, or they're trying to get their cost a little further down. If you're going to absolutely need to drain everything you have and borrow money, I just don't think that that is a good choice, because when you move in, you are going to have expenses that you are not prepared for. And if you don't have the money to buy the house without borrowing money or draining your accounts, those are going to be surprises that are going to be really hard to take. Leave yourself some cushion room in there, because I promise you, there is going to be a surprise after closing. When I bought one of my homes right after closing, we were so excited. We went grocery shopping, loaded up the fridge because we knew that we were going to be at the house eating a lot while we were moving in. And 2 days later, the fridge died. By the time we got home, everything was spoiled. Not only did I have to replace all the groceries, I had to buy a new fridge. So leave yourself a little bit of a buffer so that you're not draining everything. Now, number 6, I see can often actually derail the closing and stop a buyer from being able to purchase their dream home. And that is going to be insurance and flood insurance. Oftentimes my buyers are so excited and I keep saying, hey, make sure you check the insurance cost, because you might be planning for, let's say, $1,600 and the insurance is actually $2,600. And with the lender, it may throw you out of being able to buy the home because the payments are going to exceed what the lender is willing to loan you. So once you get the house that you are looking for under contract, make sure you check the insurance costs with different lenders so that you know, one, can you even get insurance, because a house may be older and have some dated items that need to be updated, and you'll want to negotiate that in the inspection period. Or 2, you cannot get insurance or you are not comfortable with what the insurance payments are going to be. Which also leads us to the flood insurance. Before you even get excited about the home, check what the flood insurance area is, and I will tell you, everything has a flood zone. There is no area that you're going to say, or anybody says this to you, oh, I'm not in a flood zone. The entire state of Florida is rated for flood. You are just less likely or more likely to flood. And if you are more likely to flood, there is going to be a special rate for you. So make sure you check the flood zone and you are comfortable with the flood zone. And if you are required to carry flood insurance, you know what that cost is going to be. Now, this last one is actually the second place that I think that people should start. Remember, I said the first one is making sure you know what you can afford and get your pre-approval for your loan. But this one I feel is really, really important, because if you do this one and you make a mistake, you got to move to fix it. And this is not checking out the neighborhood. I encourage my buyers, before you even want to see homes, explore the neighborhoods. Drive around different areas, whether it's the Northwest or Southwest or East, anywhere. Drive the neighborhoods at different times of day. Look to see if there's a lot of activity and if you're comfortable with the kind of activity that's out there. What is the traffic like? How long is it going to take for you to get to work or home from work? Is it going to be easy to turn into or out of your neighborhood? What amenities are nearby? Are you going to have to drive 2 minutes to a grocery store or 20 minutes to a grocery store? You will also want to research what are the schools in the area, and of course, crime rates. Your real estate agent cannot discuss the crime rates. So you want to go and become an investigator, check the city and county, get the crime rate reports, and find out, are you comfortable with the crime that's in the area? Because every area has crime. Also, are you comfortable with the traffic? Because every area has traffic. You're not just purchasing the home as a building, you are also purchasing the home in its location. So make sure that you absolutely like or love that location, because if you don't, all you can do is move to change it. Now, there are many other mistakes that home buyers can make, but these are the top 7 that I have seen home buyers make that I work with in the last 15 plus years. If you're a buyer and you've made some mistakes, or you know someone who's made some mistakes, please drop them in the comments below and share them with other buyers so that they don't make them too. If you are buying in the next 2 months or 2 years, give me a call. I'd love to work with you and make sure that these mistakes aren't going to be mistakes that you make. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.